Good evening and welcome back to my channel. Iran just attacked the USS Abraham Lincoln yesterday in international waters. An Iranian drone flew directly toward America's most powerful aircraft carrier. F-35 fighter jets scrambled. The drone kept coming, ignored all warnings, and America shot it down. But here's what nobody's telling you. That wasn't the only attack. Hours later, 6 Iranian gunboats surrounded a U.S.-flagged oil tanker in the Strait of Hormuz. They ordered the American crew to stop, prepare to be boarded. Iran was trying to seize an American ship. This isn't a drill anymore. This isn't posturing. Iran attacked American forces twice in one day, and we're about to find out what Trump does about it. Let me tell you exactly what happened on February 3rd that has every military analyst saying we're closer to war than any moment since the Iran nuclear strikes in June. The USS Abraham Lincoln was crossing the Arabian Sea, 500 miles from Iran's southern coast. International waters, legal transit. At approximately midday, an Iranian Shahed-139 drone appeared on radar. This isn't a small surveillance quadcopter. The Shahed-139 is a long-range intelligence and strike drone, similar to America's MQ-9 Predator. It can collect intelligence, it can fire missiles, and it was heading straight for the Lincoln. U.S. Central Command spokesman Captain Tim Hawkins said the drone unnecessarily maneuvered toward the ship. America took what he called de-escalatory measures. That's military speak for we tried everything to make this drone turn around without shooting it. They probably jammed its communications, warned Iran through military channels, gave them every opportunity to call it back. The drone kept coming. The Iranian drone continued to fly toward the ship, despite de-escalatory measures, Hawkins confirmed. At that point, America had a choice. Let an Iranian strike drone reach the carrier, or shoot it down. An F-35C Lightning II fighter jet launched from the Lincoln, the most advanced stealth fighter in the world. The pilot locked onto the drone, fired. The Shahed-139 exploded over the Arabian Sea. No American casualties, no damage to the carrier. The drone was destroyed. But Iran had just attacked a U.S. aircraft carrier, not threatened, not buzzed. Attacked with a military drone that ignored every warning to turn back. That's an act of war. And Iran did it in broad daylight. Now here's where Iran's story falls apart. Iranian state media Tasnim News immediately claimed the drone was on a usual and legal mission in international waters, engaged in reconnaissance, monitoring, and filming. They said it was normal and lawful action. Then they admitted the drone successfully sent its reconnaissance and identification images to the center, but then lost communication. Think about that. Iran is saying their drone just happened to lose communication right as it approached America's carrier, after successfully collecting intelligence, after transmitting images. That's Iran admitting they were spying on the Lincoln, and their drone mysteriously lost contact the moment America shot it down. They're not even trying to make the lie believable. But the White House had a very different explanation. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt went on Fox News and said the drone was acting aggressively toward the USS Abraham Lincoln. Not conducting routine surveillance, acting aggressively. That's the official American position. Iran sent a strike-capable drone aggressively toward a U.S. carrier. America defended itself. And now both countries are locked in competing narratives about what just happened. Iran says it was an accident. America says it was aggression. Somebody's lying. And the next few hours proved who, because Iran wasn't done. Hours after the drone shoot-down, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps launched a second attack. This time in the Strait of Hormuz, the narrowest point between Iran and the Arabian Peninsula, where 20% of the world's oil passes through every single day. A U.S.-flagged and U.S.-crewed oil tanker called the Stena Imperative was transiting the strait, legally, in international shipping lanes. Suddenly, 6 Iranian gunboats appeared, small, fast, armed. They surrounded the tanker. Captain Hawkins from CENTCOM said Iranian forces threatened to board and seize the Stena Imperative. Let me be clear about what that means. Iran ordered an American ship to stop, told the crew to prepare to be boarded, was about to put Iranian military forces onto a U.S.-flagged vessel and take it hostage. This is exactly what Iran did in 2019 when they seized British tankers. This is piracy. This is hostage-taking. This is Iran declaring they can grab American ships whenever they want, and they tried it hours after attacking the Lincoln. But this time, America was ready. A U.S.-guided missile destroyer was nearby, probably shadowing the Lincoln carrier group. The destroyer intervened immediately. Hawkins said the destroyer de-escalated the situation. That's another military euphemism. The destroyer probably positioned itself between the Iranian boats and the American tanker, made it clear that boarding that ship meant engaging a U.S. warship. Iran backed down. The gunboats dispersed. The Stena Imperative increased speed and escaped. But for several terrifying minutes, Iran was actively trying to seize an American civilian vessel in international waters. Now, let me tell you why these two incidents on the same day prove Iran is testing Trump, not testing America's defenses, testing Trump personally. Iran knows the USS Abraham Lincoln is there because Trump sent it. Trump posted on Truth Social last week that a massive armada is heading to Iran. He said it's ready, willing, and able to rapidly fulfill its mission, with speed and violence if necessary. Iran read that. Iran knows Trump threatened military strikes. Iran knows talks are supposed to happen this week. So what does Iran do? They attack the exact carrier Trump sent as a threat. They try to seize a ship in the exact location Trump said he won't tolerate interference. Iran is calling Trump's bluff. And here's the calculation Iran is making. If Trump doesn't respond to a drone attack and an attempted ship seizure, Iran wins. They prove Trump's threats are empty. They demonstrate they can harass U.S. forces without consequences. They weaken America's deterrence across the entire Middle East. Every Iranian proxy from Hezbollah to the Houthis sees that Iran attacked America twice and nothing happened. That emboldens everyone. But if Trump does respond, Iran gets to play victim. They'll say America escalated. They'll claim they were just conducting routine operations. They'll rally international sympathy. Either way, Iran thinks they win. That's why they attacked. But there's something Iran miscalculated. Trump is not Biden. When Iranian proxies attacked U.S. forces under Biden, he launched limited retaliatory strikes and called it deterrence. When Iranian drones harassed U.S. ships under Biden, he issued statements condemning the behavior. Trump is different. Trump assassinated Qasem Soleimani, Iran's top general, in 2020 for planning attacks on Americans. Trump just invaded Venezuela and kidnapped their president 4 weeks ago. Trump bombed Iran's nuclear facilities in June. When Trump threatens speed and violence, he means it, and Iran just gave him justification. Now let me show you the diplomatic mess this creates. U.S. and Iranian officials are supposed to meet this week, maybe Friday. The location keeps changing. First it was Turkey, then Iran demanded it move to Oman. Why Oman? Because Iran wants talks focused only on the nuclear program. Turkey would allow America to bring in regional issues. Iran's missile program, Iran's support for proxies. Oman keeps it narrow, just nukes. But now Iran has attacked U.S. forces twice in 24 hours. How does Trump sit down for talks after that? How does he negotiate with a country that just tried to seize an American ship? And Israel is making this worse. Prime Minister Netanyahu met with Trump's envoy Steve Witkoff on Tuesday. Netanyahu told him directly, Iran cannot be trusted. Any promises Iran makes will be broken. Israel is reportedly insisting that Trump stick to 4 key demands: complete nuclear dismantlement, full missile program limits, permanent IAEA inspections, and end to support for terrorist proxies. Iran has already said the missile program is off the table, non-negotiable. So Israel is telling Trump don't make a deal. Iran is saying we won't discuss missiles. And both sides just had a military confrontation. The talks are dead before they start. But here's what's happening behind the scenes that makes this even more dangerous. An unnamed Iranian official told Reuters on February 2nd that Iran is willing to accept zero enrichment under a consortium agreement and hand over 400 kilograms of highly enriched uranium. That's almost all of Iran's weapons-grade material. That's a massive concession. If real, that's Iran offering to completely abandon their nuclear weapons program. But the same official said Iran wants America to remove its military assets from the Middle East first. That's the precondition. U.S. forces leave. Then Iran negotiates. Trump will never accept that. America has 50,000 troops in the region, bases in Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, UAE. Trump isn't pulling them out so Iran can negotiate. That's surrender. So Iran's concession is designed to fail. Meanwhile, Iran's Fars news agency has been publishing photos of U.S. military bases in the region. No commentary, just images. Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, Naval Support Activity Bahrain, Camp Arifjan in Kuwait. These are Iran's targets. If America strikes Iran, these bases get hit with ballistic missiles. Iran is sending a message. We know where your forces are. We can reach them, and we will. That's psychological warfare. That's Iran trying to deter Trump by threatening thousands of American troops. And oil markets are reacting. After the drone shootdown and ship harassment, U.S. crude oil prices jumped more than 1%. That doesn't sound like much, but it's the direction that matters. Every escalation between America and Iran pushes oil higher. If this turns into actual combat, oil hits $150 a barrel, maybe $200. The global economy crashes. Inflation explodes. Gas prices in America double. Trump's entire economic agenda collapses. Iran knows this. That's why they're escalating. They think Trump will back down to protect the economy. But let me tell you what happened the last time Iran tried this strategy. In 2019, Iran attacked Saudi oil facilities, shut down half of Saudi Arabia's production. Oil markets went crazy. Everyone said Trump would have to respond militarily. Trump did nothing. He tweeted. He imposed sanctions, but he didn't strike. Iran learned they could attack energy infrastructure without consequences. Then in January 2020, Iran-backed militias killed an American contractor in Iraq. Trump assassinated Soleimani 3 days later. No warning, just a drone strike that eliminated Iran's most powerful military commander. So Iran never knows which Trump they're going to get, the Trump who tweets or the Trump who kills. And that's what makes this moment so dangerous. Iran attacked the Abraham Lincoln thinking maybe Trump is all talk. Maybe the speed and violence threat is just negotiating tactics. But Trump just shot down their drone. Trump just intervened to stop their ship seizure. Trump is showing he will use force. Now Iran has to decide, back down or escalate further. And Iran's regime can't afford to look weak. Not after the January massacre. Not after 30,000 protesters were killed demanding regime change. Not after Trump said he's coming for them. Iran's leadership thinks showing weakness gets them overthrown, so they'll probably escalate. Here's what Iran might do next. They could launch more drones, send them in swarms, force America to expend expensive missiles shooting down cheap drones. That's asymmetric warfare. They could mine the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has thousands of naval mines. They could scatter them across the shipping lanes and shut down oil transit for weeks. They could activate Hezbollah in Lebanon, order missile strikes on Israel, force Israel to retaliate, pull the whole region into conflict. They could attack U.S. bases with ballistic missiles, test Trump's willingness to sustain casualties, or they could do nothing. Claim the drone malfunction was an accident. Blame rogue IRGC commanders for the ship harassment. Give Trump an off-ramp. Let talks proceed. But Trump has options, too. He could launch limited strikes on Iranian military targets, hit the bases those drones came from, send a message without starting a war. He could authorize Israel to strike Iran's nuclear facilities. Let Israel do the work while America provides intelligence and refueling. He could impose new sanctions, freeze Iran's oil exports completely, strangle their economy until they negotiate. He could do nothing publicly but escalate covert operations, cyber attacks, support for Iranian opposition groups, sabotage of military facilities, or he could go all in, massive air campaign, regime change operation, end the Islamic Republic permanently. And we're going to know which option Trump chooses very soon, because Iran just forced his hand. You can't attack an American aircraft carrier and try to seize an American ship without consequences. Not with this president, not after he's threatened speed and violence, not when talks are supposed to happen in days. Trump has to respond. The question is how hard. Does he hit back proportionally, or does he use this as justification for the larger operation he's been planning? Here's what you need to watch in the next 48 to 72 hours. First, watch Trump's language. If he downplays the incidents and says talks are still on track, he's choosing diplomacy. If he calls this an act of war and threatens retaliation, strikes are coming. Second, watch military movements. If B-2 bombers deploy to the region, if additional carrier groups move toward Iran, if tanker aircraft start positioning, that's the 24-hour warning. Third, watch oil prices. If they spike above $90 a barrel, markets know something the public doesn't. Fourth, watch Iran's rhetoric. If Khamenei goes on television denying any attack happened, Iran is backing down. If he doubles down and threatens America, they're preparing for war. Fifth, watch the talks. If Friday's meeting gets canceled, diplomacy is dead. If it proceeds despite the attacks, both sides are buying time. Now, let me tell you the conversation that's happening in the White House right now. Trump's advisors are split. The hawks, probably including Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, are saying this is the justification we needed. Iran attacked us. Hit them hard. Show the world America doesn't tolerate aggression. The doves, probably some State Department officials, are saying don't fall for Iran's trap. They want you to strike so they can play victim. Keep talking. The deal makers are saying use this as leverage. Tell Iran the attacks stop or the talks stop. And Trump is listening to all of them while deciding what kind of president he wants to be in this moment. The deal maker, the hawk, the strategist. And Israel is in Netanyahu's ear saying, don't trust Iran. They attacked you while pretending to negotiate. They'll do it again. Any deal you make, they'll violate. The only solution is regime change. Destroy their nuclear program, destroy their government, end the threat permanently. But Trump also knows a war with Iran could define his entire presidency, could cost thousands of American lives, could crash the economy, could last years. So he's weighing all of that against two incidents that happened in one day. Here's what makes this different from every other U.S.-Iran confrontation. Trump has already struck Iran once. The June nuclear facility bombings proved Trump will use force. Iran knows he's not bluffing about military action, but Iran also knows Trump wants a deal. Trump said, we have talks going on with Iran and we'll see how it all works out. That's Trump leaving the door open even after the attacks. So both sides are playing a very dangerous game. Iran is testing how much they can get away with. Trump is calculating how much he can tolerate before responding. And somewhere between those two positions is either a deal or a war. The drone shoot-down proves America will defend its forces. The ship intervention proves America won't let Iran seize vessels. But Iran launching both attacks proves they're not afraid of Trump's threats. They're willing to risk war to maintain leverage in negotiations. They think Trump needs a deal more than they do. They think America won't sustain a prolonged conflict. They think oil price pressure will force Trump to back down. And they might be right, or they might be catastrophically wrong. What happens next depends entirely on Trump's decision in the next 48 hours. Does he hit back? Does he negotiate? Does he escalate? Because Iran is watching. Israel is watching. Every ally and enemy in the Middle East is watching. And Trump's response to yesterday's attacks will determine whether we get peace or war, whether we get a nuclear deal or a nuclear crisis, whether Iran's regime survives or collapses. The F-35 that shot down Iran's drone is back on the Lincoln. The destroyer that saved the tanker is still patrolling the strait. The 6 Iranian gunboats are back at their base. And somewhere in Tehran, Iranian commanders are waiting to see if Trump launches missiles at them. or sits down to talk. Nobody knows which one it'll be. Not Iran, not Israel, maybe not even Trump himself. But we're about to find out. Because yesterday Iran attacked, and Trump doesn't ignore attacks. The countdown has started. And the next move will determine everything. If you've made it this far, you understand we just witnessed 2 acts of war in one day. Iran attacked the USS Abraham Lincoln with a drone. Hours later, they tried to seize an American ship. This isn't posturing anymore. This is Iran testing Trump. Here's what I need from you. If you think Trump will strike Iran militarily in the next 48 hours, comment strike. If you think he'll use this as leverage to get a better deal, comment deal. And if you think Iran is going to escalate with more attacks, comment escalate. Smash that like button if you want daily coverage as this crisis develops. We're monitoring every military movement, every diplomatic signal, every threat from both sides. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because when Trump makes his move, you'll know immediately. Share this video with anyone who needs to understand what just happened. The mainstream media is downplaying this as routine harassment. You just got the full picture showing these were coordinated attacks designed to test America's president. Drop your prediction below. Strike, deal, or escalate. Let's see who reads this correctly. Because Iran just crossed a line they haven't crossed in years. The question is whether Trump draws a new one or erases the old ones completely. Thanks for watching. Now we wait to see if yesterday's attacks lead to tomorrow's war.